Hello everyone, I'm so glad that you came back to my channel. Today we are going to be making these cute, adorable Christmas mug rugs. These mug rugs measure 10 inches wide and 6 inches long. There are two of these mug rugs that are 6 inches wide and 10 inches long. We're going to be doing some raw edge applique in today's video, and although some of these mug rugs look like they have been pieced together, it's all applique. And it's what I like to call faux piecing. It's a quick, fun, fast way of doing a project that looks a lot more complicated, but actually it goes by very fast. These mug rugs are available in my Etsy shop, so if you see any of the patterns and you'd like to get that, the link will be in the description box below. We are going to go ahead and get started and have some fun today making these Christmas mug rugs. We're ready to go ahead and get started today. Hello. I have all of my pieces from my mug rug laid out on the mat, and I'm going to walk you through each one. Our backing fabric measures 8 by 12 inches. Our batting fabric measures 6 by 10. And our top fabric also measures 6 by 10 inches. Now I've included an extra inch all the way around so that you could use the backing fabric as your binding, and I do have a video on my channel that shows you step by step how to do this. If you want to use a traditional binding, just like this, you can trim away the extra backing, and the binding requirements are in the pattern. So you have two different ways that you could finish your mug rug. Now I've already prepared all the pieces for the Star Bright mug rug, and that's the one that we are making together today. Each one of the patterns comes with a template page that tells you how many pieces to cut. And they are mirror imaged, and so you are ready to get started tracing with your favorite fusible. I've already applied Heat and Bond Light to the back side of my fabric and cut out each one of these pieces. There's my Heat and Bond Light. And we're ready to go ahead and get started. Now, I call this faux piecing. This kind of project is really nice when you have lots of projects to make and a limited time to make them in. There is no accurate fussy cutting or piecing. We don't have to worry about an accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance. We just cut out our shapes and fuse them into place. And I absolutely love that because it is so quick. And it makes the mug rug look a lot harder than it actually is. I'm just aligning these squares to the side of my mug rug, and that's what I do first, and we are fusing them into place. Now all of these pieces will be stitched down when we're ready to quilt our quilt, because we will be stitching down our applique and quilting at the same time. Now for this particular mug rug, I'm going to go ahead and mark a center position. Most of the other mug rug patterns don't really require this because they don't have as many pieces that have to be accurately placed. We are shooting for a star pattern in the center of our mug rug, and so I'm just going to be laying out the pieces just like this. Now, if you have a cutting machine like a Brother Scan and Cut or Silhouette machine, a Cricut machine, and you cut fabrics with it, that makes the cutting process of all of these pieces a lot faster and more accurate. And I do have a demo video on my channel, and I would love to do more videos where I actually cut out the pieces using my Brother Scan and Cut. It's a lot of fun and it saves me so much time. So you can see I am just fusing down into place each one of the pieces as I go along, just building up this star with all of the different triangles. Now once they are all fused into place, we are ready to stitch everything down. Once this is quilted, it's going to appear that you have meticulously pieced all of these pieces together to create this star. I'm going to take a glue stick and apply some glue to the back side of my quilt top. Just like this. Put it onto my batting, and then with a hot dry iron, I'm going to dry the glue, and then I won't have to pin my little quilt together when I take it to the machine. I'm going to center this right in the center of the backing and apply a little bit more glue. Of course, you could use pins if you want as well. I'm going to turn it over and dry the glue again. And then we're ready to stitch this out. How cute is that? Each one of these pieces will need to be stitched down to permanently adhere them into place. Now I'm going to bring you over and show the other mug rugs, and they are all at the same stage in the process of making the mug rugs. They have been fused into place, and now I'm going to do some stitching to stitch everything down. Now I am ready to quilt. We are at the machine now, and the first thing that I'm going to do is stitch down all of my faux pieced applique squares. So I'm going to use a zigzag stitch because I'm going to want to make sure that I am covering each one of the raw edges of all of the squares. And so a zigzag stitch works really well for me. You could use a satin stitch as well, or a blanket stitch. You could do a straight stitch, but you want to make sure that all of the edges of each one of your pieces are stitched down. Choosing a decorative stitch on your sewing machine would look so adorable. So I'm just going to bring you through this process of stitching down right in the center of those pieces, making sure to catch each one as I go along. Again, this is just super fast and easy. I am quilting my quilt at the same time as I'm stitching down all of my applique pieces. Now, I did want to say that there are 9 different Christmas mug rug patterns that are available, and in each one of the listings, they have a difficulty level, and that's really based on the amount of pieces and how small the pieces are. And so, if you are a beginner, there are a couple of different patterns that are really super easy. And for this particular mug rug that we're making together, I would say this is more experienced or a little bit more difficult because of the amount of pieces. And keeping in mind that each one of these pieces needs to be stitched down in some way. You could definitely do a satin stitch all the way around all of your star pieces. Today I'm going to do some free motion work, and so I'm going to bring you along as I quilt and stitch down the star area as well. And I tried to show you the back, but I used a blue thread and it blended right in, so you can't really see that. Next, let's stitch down the star. Now I've switched over to the free motion foot on my machine. I have a blue thread running through the top and the bottom, so you might not be able to see some parts of the quilting that I'm doing. I'm ready to go around each one of my pieces and stitch them down and quilt as I go along. If you have not tried doing free motion work with your machine, I highly suggest taking out some scrap fabrics and sitting down and practicing, because I think you will fall in love with the whole process. And it really just takes practice. And I think you'll find that it makes a lot of your projects a lot easier and a lot faster. I'm going to go through each one of these pieces right along the edge, turning my little mug rug quilt as I go along. One other thing that I did want to say about some of the other mug rug patterns, like the snowman and the Santa Claus. Those mug rug patterns have very small pieces for the eyes and the mouth. And so here is a tip. Anytime you have a pattern that the pieces are so small that you do not even want to mess with cutting them out or trying to stitch them, I use a permanent fabric marker. And that's what I've done. If you go to my Etsy shop and you look at the pictures of each one of these finished mug rugs, I'll also put a picture of each one at the end of this video. The eyes for the snowman and the Santa Claus are permanent marker. Even though I have a Brother Scan and Cut and it cuts out all of my pieces accurately, they are really, really small. And so to save time and a little bit on my patience, I drew them in with a black fabric marker. So there's my little tip for today. Now I'm just going to do some free motion work right in the center of this star and help quilt it down. And just like that, we've quilted our little mug rug. So for each one of the mug rug patterns, you would go through the same exact steps, stitching down all of your pieces. Now we're ready to bind our quilt and we'll be done. I hope you have found this helpful, and I hope you have a lot of fun with these mug rugs. Thank you so much for watching my little mug rug tutorial. If you have any questions, jump down to the comment section below.